My name is Emily Harris. I'm 32, and until this morning, I thought life was finally aligning. I'm an emergency nurse, used to chaos, and somehow chaos in my personal life felt different. My boyfriend, Daniel, and I had been together for 4 years, living in a cozy Seattle apartment with our kids, Nora, 8, and Theo, 5. Life was organized in routines, bills, and bedtime stories, until today. We arrived at the cruise terminal, suitcases rolling behind us, the sun bouncing off the polished wood of the docks. Children's laughter, seagulls, and the smell of fuel made my chest tighten with anticipation. Nora squeezed my hand. "Mom, is the pool open already?" Theo hopped like a spring. "Can I see the slide?" We spotted Vanessa, my sister, younger by 4 years, sunglasses on, energy twice her size. She waved, that two-fingered, I'm important gesture I've known since childhood. "You told me the family cruise was booked for everyone," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oops," she said, twisting her mouth like she'd bitten into a lemon and wanted the world to applaud. "We forgot you had kids." I laughed, not realizing at first that she wasn't joking. My stomach sank. My kids weren't included in the itinerary. "They flagged the kids," Vanessa said, as if they were luggage. "Adults only deck for the block we got. Kids club waitlist, but it'll be fine, just the first couple of days. Anyway, forms are submitted. You'll figure it out." Nora stopped smiling. Theo's hand went cold in mine. I looked at Vanessa, the same sister who grew up learning to be the favorite, loud, shiny, self-promoting. I was the quiet fixer, the one everyone called, when things broke or deadlines loomed. And now, that role was being weaponized against my children. "Why didn't you call me?" I asked, voice low. Her mouth twitched. "Every time you call, you give a speech. I thought you'd be grateful for being excluded." My parents hovered behind her, Mom smoothing her cardigan like it could iron reality flat. "Emily, don't make a scene." "Who booked the rooms?" I asked, keeping my tone factual. Vanessa's grin returned, brighter, faker. "Obviously, one primary contact was needed. You're always busy, so I handled it." I looked down at the matching cruise bracelets on her wrist, my parents' wrists, silver ships gleaming in the sun. My children had none, neither did I. "Where are our passes?" Vanessa tilted her head. "System wouldn't let me add children to our block. Packages are tricky, but go to guest services. Maybe they can squeeze you in." I felt the familiar knot in my chest, the one that had been there whenever I was quietly holding everything together while the family took credit. I remembered last year when Dad had surgery. I slept on a hard hospital chair, changed his wound dressings, scoured pharmacies for the cheapest medication. Vanessa posted a black and white photo with him, captioned, "Family is everything." 200 likes. Nobody noticed my effort. I'd always been the walking buffer. When money was tight, I picked up side gigs and slid the difference to Mom's account. When Vanessa's car got repossessed, I paid the impound fees 3 times. It was never recognized. That's family, I thought, or at least that was my role in it. The cruise was supposed to be Mom's birthday gift. Vanessa had taken control under the guise of generosity, and my kids had become invisible footnotes. And my card? Already hit for deposits and adjustments I hadn't approved. Theo tugged my sleeve. "Mom, do we get bracelets?" I knelt to his height. "We're okay," I said, forcing my voice steady. "I promise." But inside, I felt something harden, something that had been soft and pliable for too long. Not this time. I scanned the dock. Vanessa heading toward the spa pre-boarding, sunglasses in place, smile fixed. My children, small hands gripping mine, and I realized this wasn't just logistics. This was a test, a manipulation, and I would not let them erase my family. By the time we settled in our cabin, I could feel the weight of every small decision Vanessa had made. Kids' dining times shifted to late seating. Floor assignments changed because Mom gets seasick if she's not midship. Every ping on my card felt like another reminder that I was funding a trip designed to erase my children. I tried to reason. Maybe this was a mistake. I called guest services asking about the deck reassignment, the adult-only restrictions. I listened politely as they explained what had already been processed. My stomach tightened as I realized Vanessa had been systematically rewriting our family's plans without asking me. The voice of my own internal monologue became sharp. This is the same pattern. Every gift, every help, always at the cost of someone else. You cover the gaps, take the blame, and they smile like it's a favor. 2 days before boarding, Vanessa added a surprise detour, a private beach day, her gift for Mom. I asked if the kids were allowed. Winky face. They'll love it. Sand everywhere. The smile emoji made it worse. Little things, seemingly innocent, tilting in her favor. I tried to sleep that night. Pancakes for the kids in the morning, backpacks packed. I checked my phone. Another charge. Another adjustment. Priority boarding packages. Welcome cocktails. We don't drink. My fingers hovered over the phone, wishing I could snap back control without anyone noticing. Mom called for coffee the next morning. I tried to explain the changes, the exclusion, the inequities. Emily, your sister planned the whole thing. Just say thank you, she said, stirring sugar like it owed her respect. I pressed gently. I paid the deposit for both cabins. The kids' access has been changed without consent. I need to make sure they're included. Mom waved a hand. Can't you just let her have one nice thing? That was the breaking point, the familiar refrain of my family expecting gratitude while ignoring the cost, the oversight, the erasure. I nodded, pretending to understand, while inside a decision formed. Not anger, not revenge, clarity. Later that evening, I reviewed every charge, every email confirmation, every cabin assignment. Vanessa had become the primary contact, and I, the one who had worked to fund and organize everything, was suddenly sidelined. It wasn't just frustrating, it was a pattern of exploitation. I thought back to my years of quiet sacrifices, fixing leaks, correcting school errors, covering bills, paying impound fees, always the unnoticed buffer. And now my kids were the casualties of the same dynamic. By Friday night, the last straw arrived. Another charge on my card for a cabin reassignment fee I hadn't approved. I tried calling Vanessa. No answer. A text arrived. Spray tan. Can't talk. Sleep didn't come. My stomach felt like a locked fist. At 5 a.m., I made pancakes, pretending excitement. At 7 a.m., we loaded the car. At 9:30, we rolled our suitcases to the dock. And then Vanessa said it aloud, the words carving a void. Oops, we forgot you had kids. The children looked at me, innocent, trusting. Theo's hand clutched mine. Mom, are we not going? No, I said softly, we're going to fix this. I walked to the end of the dock, signal strongest, and called the cruise line. My voice was calm, but inside my pulse raced. I explained that the itinerary had changed without consent, minors were excluded, and that I needed to remove my sponsorship from cabins not traveling with us. While I waited, I watched my kids tracing gulls with their fingers, oblivious to the financial and emotional chaos unfolding around them. I imagined Vanessa, perched at the spa, sunglasses gleaming, unaware of the storm I was about to unleash, carefully, methodically, without shouting. The cruise line agent confirmed everything. Adjustments had been made by a secondary contact, Vanessa, without primary approval. I could remove my sponsorship and request refunds. My hands steadied. I was no longer just reactive. I was deliberate. I sent screenshots to the family group chat, polite but firm. I paid for a family trip. You changed it to exclude my children. I will not fund a vacation that discards them. I've withdrawn my sponsorship. Add your own card if needed. Vanessa's reply was instant, angry. Mom called. Dad called. Threats, guilt, accusations. I didn't answer. I let the facts speak. Cabin access removed. Refund request submitted. The principle was clear. My children exist, and I would no longer finance their erasure. As we walked away from the dock, kids laughing despite the tension, I felt a rare clarity. I wasn't angry. I wasn't retaliating. I was asserting boundaries, for myself and for my children. By the time we returned to the dock, the ship horn blared in the distance, announcing departures we were no longer part of, at least not as we'd been led to believe. Vanessa was perched on the railing, sunglasses shoved back into her hair, the picture of casual superiority. Mom hovered nearby, cardigan ironed, perfunctory smiles in place. Dad's hands remained in his pockets, the silent threat of convenience. I tightened my grip on Theo's hand and lifted Nora onto my hip. We need to talk, I said calmly but firmly. Vanessa rolled her eyes. You're being petty. Add the card back. You already paid. No, I said evenly. Not this time. You switched decks to adults only, knowing the kids wouldn't be included. That's intentional. I won't fund it. Nora frowned, small and unsure. Mom, are we in trouble? I knelt to her height, brushing a strand of hair from her face. No, sweetie, we're fixing it. Theo tugged at my sleeve. Mom, can we still go on the pool? Yes, we'll have our own fun, I assured him. Inside, a fierce clarity had taken root. This wasn't about tantrums or pride. It was about principles, fairness, and protecting my family. I opened the cruise app and accessed the Manage Guests section. Every cabin, every charge, every adjustment Vanessa had made without my approval was laid bare. I clicked the button I had never used before: restrict spending privileges and revoke cabin access for non-checked-in guests. It would have been so easy to hit that nuclear button in anger, but I was not acting in anger. I was acting in principle. The principle was simple. No one erases my children and pays me to do it. I called guest services. My voice was calm, professional, resolute. I need to remove my sponsorship for cabins not occupied by my party and request a refund due to non-compliant itinerary changes. The agent confirmed and annotated everything. Cabin access revoked. Refund request submitted. I sent another message to the family group chat, composed, factual. I paid for a family trip. You changed it to exclude my children. I will not fund a vacation that discards them. Sponsorship withdrawn. Add your own card if you'd like to maintain access. Vanessa erupted with text bubbles, all caps, accusations, threats. Mom and Dad called repeatedly, trying to guilt me. But I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The system had my back, my children were safe, and my integrity intact. Nora's small hand found mine. Theo bounced slightly on his heels. Mom, we did it? Yes, I said softly, letting a rare, satisfied smile touch my lips. We did it. For the first time in years, I felt the quiet satisfaction of a boundary truly respected, by no one else, but enforced nonetheless. I realized that anger had nothing to do with it. Control, clarity, and protection of what mattered most had everything to do with it. As we walked away from the dock, the sun bouncing off the water, I felt something inside shift. The ship sailed without us, a sleek metaphor for a system that tried to erase us. But my kids and I, we were still here, real, present, unbroken. Emily Harris, 32, mother, nurse, protector, finally stepping out from the role of silent buffer, standing firm for herself and her family. We drove 20 minutes inland, the salty tang of the harbor replaced by pine-scented air and the soft hum of a sleepy town. I had booked a small lakeside motel, 3 nights, no frills, kayaks, a fire pit, and a laundry room that took quarters. No bracelets, no adult-only sections, just us, just freedom. Nora ran ahead to the lake, skipping stones with determined focus. Theo practiced splash cannonballs, giggling uncontrollably when his aim was perfect, even if the water was cold. I settled into a plastic chair by the poolside, phone face down, and let the hum of their laughter fill the silence. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt untethered from obligation. The constant pull of responsibility, not just to my kids, but to a family that often confused expectation with entitlement, loosened. I could breathe. I could watch. By sunset, we were eating peanut butter sandwiches on the dock, telling knock-knock jokes that fell flat but didn't matter. We had our own rhythm, our own rules, and the children were thriving in ways the cruise could never have provided. I realized that joy didn't need approval. It didn't need comparison. It only needed presence. Meanwhile, the fallout elsewhere unfolded silently. Vanessa posted on social media, dramatic and performative, trying to rally relatives to her narrative. Emily owes Mom an apology, the caption read. And Uncle replied, she doesn't. Pay your own bills. Another cousin wrote privately, I'm with you. They excluded the kids intentionally. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The point wasn't to prove her wrong. It was to reclaim control, to teach my children, subtly, that boundaries are powerful, that fairness is non-negotiable, and that sometimes the bravest thing is to walk away from entitlement without shouting. At night, we gathered around the fire pit roasting marshmallows. Theo burned his blackened, declared it crunchy delicious, and Nora's face glowed in the firelight as she meticulously constructed a graham cracker masterpiece with chocolate melted like molten lava. I watched them, heart full, the chaos of the past days distilling into clarity. The ship sailed without us, a quiet metaphor, and I realized I didn't need the validation of my parents, my sister, or the cruise line to know that I had chosen right. Later, I blocked the family group chat. Not forever, just a pause. A pause from entitlement, from expectation, from old patterns that never served my family. 2 days later, the refund posted in full. Numbers neat, factual, the outcome finally matching the boundary I had drawn. I whispered to myself, yes, this is ours. This is right. In the lake, the children practiced floating, practiced cannonballs, and I practiced watching without interference. For once, the world didn't intrude. My kids laughed. We existed. We mattered. And that was enough. By the third morning at the lake, a calm had settled over us. The water was the color of bottle glass. Ducks patrolled like little sentinels, and the kids' laughter echoed off the trees. I could finally allow myself to breathe, to reflect, to consider what had changed and what had been revealed. Vanessa's attempts to spin the story on social media had fizzled. Relatives split between irritation at her entitlement and quiet admiration for my quiet firmness. A few called privately to check on me, offering cautious praise. We see what you did. It was fair. Others never called at all, and that was fine. The point wasn't approval. It never had been. I had learned something vital. Boundaries aren't just lines in the sand. They are commitments to yourself and to your children. Every decision, every refusal to acquiesce had reinforced the truth that I didn't have to fund other people's narratives at the expense of my family. On the final afternoon, I sat on the dock, feet dangling in the water, watching Nora and Theo take turns shouting, "Captain!" from the kayak. I felt their joy pulse through me. Here, in this small lakeside world, there was no pretense, no hierarchy, no old patterns demanding my compliance. There was only presence, laughter, and the warmth of their trust. Later, on the drive home, I didn't check my phone. No notifications, no alerts, no reminders of conflict. I allowed the silence to fill the car like sunlight, letting the tension of the past days dissipate. The refund had processed, the financial wrong corrected, the principle intact. I had reclaimed control. That evening, I placed the kids' swimsuits on the bathroom rod, folded clean towels, and prepared dinner. Small acts, mundane yet grounding. I realized I had created stability not through grand gestures, but through choices, through consistent action, through asserting what mattered most. Emily Harris, 32, mother, nurse, protector, no longer a silent buffer, no longer invisible in her own life. I had chosen my family, my principles, and my peace over obligation and manipulation. And as the kids drifted to sleep, tired from a day filled with freedom and laughter, I allowed myself a rare smile. The world hadn't ended. It had shifted, subtly, meaningfully, toward balance. We had survived the drama, the betrayal, the expectations of others. We were intact. We were whole. And in that quiet, ordinary night, I understood that this reclaimed calm, this carefully constructed normal, was our new beginning.